Welcome to the Good Karma Sport Fishing Podcast. I'm your host, Captain Ryan Van Fleet. Hey guys, thanks for tuning in. So, will I be continuing this podcast in 2022? My answer is yes. I didn't even give it a second thought. Actually, I just said, yeah, I'm definitely going to continue it. It's just been an awesome experience, and I've gotten to meet a lot of people through the whole process, and I've made some really good friends. I really have, and it's connected me with people from all over the world. I've got listeners in New Zealand, so to my New Zealand listeners, my fellow Halco users, hope you guys are killing it, and I appreciate you guys listening. I talk about the Halco lure. It's fun. I love seeing listeners send me pictures from all over the world of fish the Halco lures catching the bait fish lure. And I was just really fortunate enough to stumble upon that lure and how the guys were using it in Cabo San Lucas. It's a killer. And you guys got to remember that the Halco lure has been around for a very, very long time. It's all in the wiggle. It's not necessarily in the color. So I've got my buddy Phoenix. He lives in Bermuda, and he just crushes big wahoo on the Halco. Big yellowfins, just destroys them. And he's telling me about days in Bermuda, 80 wahoo days between the fleet of boats there. I mean, I've seen stacks of wahoo on his boat, like big ones. Then they have an abundant amount of Speedos there. And he's telling me about the Speedo fishery. And yes, and I've preached about live bait, and I've been preaching about it for many years. It seems to go on deaf ears a lot. So that's what I'm rolling into today. We're coming into a wintertime fishery. And when I was dead bait trolling for wahoo, I was just crushing it through the months of December. And I was like, oh my God, nothing can stop me. And then boom, I rolled into January. It's like somebody turned out the lights on me. And the guys were still catching them, the live bait guys. So catching them on Speedos. Speedos. And yeah, it's really simple stuff, man. And I've talked about live bait fishing in the past and how to do it. And I'm not going to dig deep into that because I put out so much content over the past 3 years. I think it's been 3 years. I don't know. Melinda, I've got fisherman, what I call fisherman timing. As far as my date goes, like I don't remember like dates and times very well. Like when I say a year, it could be 3 years ago. I don't remember time. I'm like horrible on that. But I can remember on what date and what time and what particular tide I caught this grouper on. It's just really bizarre. And I'm kind of a space cadet when it comes to that stuff. But anyways, so I have a lot of stuff out there. And that is on live bait fishing. And you guys can go back through and find the stinger rig one that I have out there. I tell you guys exactly how I put it out. You can see like how I do the goggle eye. I prefer to use goggle eyes. Speedos are amazing baits, but they can be challenging to get in the upper keys sometimes because of the amount of fishing pressure. And the fish are seeing a lot of hoop nets now. So my advice to you guys that are really wanting to get into the Speedo fishery and live bait, you got to be out there before the sun comes up. You got to have the chum in the water, and you got to have something to cloud up the water as well. My chum ball mix that I sell in my course is lethal on bait fish. It does wonders on them. So. And as far as the Speedo catching goes, I talked to you guys about how to catch them. The hoop nets are great, guys, but in reality, listen, upper keys, hardcore fishing pressure now. Some days it might as well be Miami because there's just a lot of people out there, and these fish have seen a lot of the ballyhoops and hoop nets. So unless you get like a fresh migration of bait fish, it can be difficult to catch. So where to get these baits? The Spiegel Grove is an awesome spot to catch Speedos. Lots of bait fish there right now. You can line up along the 90-foot to 100-foot line, get your chum bags out. And if you get those fish up in there, you got to get on them right away, okay? Because once that sun comes up, you're in trouble. So if you're too busy getting like whatever, trying to catch a grouper or something, you're going to lose focus and you're going to miss out on those Speedos and you won't be able to get them. They'll push back, they'll push down, and you can try the Seakeeper down there. That's really tough when you're at anchor, but you can do it. You can try floating back sabikis. Like every other one, you have to cut them off and then bait them up with the bloodline of a bonito or a little piece of shrimp. Now, they really love the bloodlines, okay? It's something about the bloodline gets them fired up, and a lot of guys are like, oh, how do I catch those? I can't get them to eat. And you got to have little gold hooks and fluorocarbon leader, man. 10-pound fluorocarbon leader. A lot of guys will use 8-pound down to 6 for heavily pressured fish. Just saying. It just can be really challenging once that sun comes up. If the fish have been heavily pressured, man, they're going to back off on you. So, like I said, I'm not going to talk too much about like how to rig them or anything like that because I've got a lot of content out there, and you guys can go back through and dig through. In the past, I've shown you guys how to turn your electric. This is about 3 years ago. I showed you guys how to turn your electric reels into downriggers because everybody and their brother has a Tanacon bowl now and a Beastmaster or Force Master or some sort of Master series, Master Blaster series. That's going to be the name of my electric reel, the Master Blaster. Master Blaster. Let's see what else. So, yeah, so you can flip those electric reels into, turn those into downriggers. And, you know, and also, too, in that article that was put out in Saltwater Sportsman Magazine, I tell you guys exactly how I live bait fish in that article. So you guys can dig that up. You can go to my website and pull up that link. I may put the link in my show notes to it, but that's out there on the internet as well. If you guys want to, as far as using outrigger clips and all that stuff, copper wire, I don't use any of that shit. I use the Penn outrigger live bait clips. They're just basically for, it's a light tension clip. It's the blue color, and you guys can buy those through my store. They work very well. Don't buy the red ones; those are the heavy clips, and you got to have the right amount of tension so the fish can pop those live baits off your outriggers. So getting into it also too. If you can't get the Speedos, I'll tell you for the Wahoo, the blue runners just work just as fine. They work great. All you need is a lot of flash, something that moves really fast. They work great. You can also use cigar minnows as well. Big cigar minnows. I love those. Love those. They also love mullet. A lot of people are passing up mullet, live mullet. They love that stuff, that shiny side. You can put those down on your downriggers. Those work really good. The big ones, okay? Let's see what else. But yeah, just a few things that you can do. And also, too, the little tunnies. I don't use those because they tend to die. But they work really well. You catch it. They're hard to, it's hard to hook those Wahoo with those really big baits. They got to swallow it, and they got to get, and it's just like I don't know. It's just harder. So, but the ones you usually catch are bigger. So, but you get the bites really quick with them. So, I like to use goggle eyes. That's my favorite bait, and I've always used them. There's no secret when it comes to live bait fishing for sailfish and Wahoo. Don't discount don't discount ballyhoo, man, especially this time of year. I've seen guys guys fishing side by side of dudes with goggle eyes using ballyhoo. The big tunas, they just love the ballyhoo on the top. It looks like a flying fish. And the sailfish, and they'll pass up a goggle eye and eat a ballyhoo out of an outrigger any day. So, I mean, it's just how it rolls. And big herring, you guys know that in Miami, that's the thing, is the big herring out off the kites. So that works really well. So, yeah, I'll give you guys lots of tips. And you just have to go back through and dig through the podcast because it's there. So I'm not going to regurgitate it. I'm not going to give you what numbers they are because you got to put in some work and to do that. And yeah, it ain't easy. I put together a lot of content for you guys. You guys can go back through and get caught up because you literally have a library that I've created for you guys that you can go back through and take a look at if you want to get better. So, and actually do some time. Booking a charter with me. Yeah, you know, my charters are fishing charters, and I prefer to just go fishing. Okay. So just keep that in mind. I like to go fishing on my fishing charters and stay focused on catching people fish. So As far as what I'll be doing here this winter, no, I won't be wahoo trolling. So I will be live baiting more for wahoo. That is my absolute favorite way to catch those fish. Just had amazing days with live bait. So over trolling. But and then also too, guys, I get a lot of I want to talk about this thing about you get guys try to put down the live bait guys, try to put down the dead bait guys, the dead bait guys try to put down the live bait guys. Listen, in the end, it's just fishing, and what it comes down to is your preference. And if you're putting a guy down because he prefers to troll, you shouldn't be doing that shit. So don't knock another guy's fishing style. That was hard for me to learn personally when I first started out. It was hard because I caught a lot of shit from a lot of guys because I trolled. And the charter boat fleet really came down on me because I was trolling. And I had one guy that used to say, oh, you're getting out there and catching the wahoo before the fleet leaves, and that's not fair. So I was like, what's that all about? Not fair. So it's just that kind of stuff. So if you're one of those guys that, if you have a slow day and if you're trolling, you have a slow day and another guy comes in and he wrecks them with live bait, you should congratulate him, okay? You should say, hey, nice job. Yeah, it's going to sting a little bit. That's normal, man. That's fishing. That's life. That's life. And if you're not learning those life lessons, then it's going to kick your ass in the end. So you need to get your butt beat once in a while to learn, okay? That's just the way it rolls. There's always going to be somebody else going to kick your ass. And no matter how good you get, somebody else is always going to be better. That's why there's a learning curve, and that's why people choose to get better, because they want to, they see other guys catching fish. So, and that's just the way it works. So just keep that in mind. Don't beat another guy down because he doesn't use live bait, and don't beat another guy down because he uses dead bait. That's a guy's style, okay? If the guy chooses to buy fluorocarbon leader, don't put him down. You may not want to admit it, but that's just the way it rolls. So if one guy has something, congratulate him, okay? Congratulate him. So just keep rolling. Worry about yourself. Do your own shit, because that's the only way you're going to get better, okay? So I'm just telling you guys, that's just the way it rolls. I was at a hardware store last fall. There's this charter guy, and I would seem to be in places where I was at to get supplies, and he was always on the phone, and he was always kind of really loud. So I don't even know if the guy's even around anymore, but he was telling his client, a potential client, on the phone. I just couldn't help but to listen because he was so loud, and he was at the checkout at the hardware store. And everybody's listening as well. And he said, well, you don't want to book with that guy because he doesn't use live bait. I was like, this is what this guy was saying. I go, I can tell you what, I'm taking live bait and I'm killing it, making it dead. So some days, that's just the way it works. So don't what I'm trying to tell you guys are going to be better fishermen and better individuals overall is when you realize and you stop that kind of shit. Then good things are going to happen for you, okay? You're going to get the catches you want. You're going to have good people come into your life, and things are going to start feeling a lot better for you. So, and also too, this is the worst one, is when somebody has a nice catch of wahoo, and then the guy that doesn't go, he says, well, everybody caught him. And that guy's got an issue. He's just a little jealous. So you got to keep the ego in check, because ego kills talent. So, and that's just it. Ego kills talent. It's okay to get a little upset sometimes, because that's how you get better. But it's how you use getting upset to make it work for you. So I think I'm just going to leave it at that today. I want you guys to really think about some of those things, because I know the podcast is, everybody thinks that the podcast is about gear tips and all this other stuff. It's not. It's not. It's really about helping people and sharing things that all my sharing things that have helped me in my life and years ago. And I've just worked and worked and worked and worked and worked at it, okay, to make myself happy. And some of the things that, and I really started like enjoying my life more when I started doing the podcast. I really did. And I really started seeing the guys like say, hey, Ryan, I used this tip and I caught this big fish. And it started clicking with me that, hey, and a lot of the best fishermen I know are the ones that actually are like helping other dudes. So those are always the guys I looked up to. And so when I started doing the podcast, I started feeling, it was just a good feeling. And that's part of the reason why I do it. So, and plus if there's somebody out there that I can help, then I've done my job. So, and I'm just going to keep doing it because, hey, I enjoy helping people. And yeah, a lot of guys are like, I don't want to try this. And I was like, good, you don't need to if you don't want to. So for each their own. Like I just tell people, hey, what works for me may not work for you. And I'm not afraid to try something different because I get bored. I really do. I want to change it up and stuff and that kind of thing. And I'm not afraid to tell people what I think. And I just want my clients to have a good time. And I want them to catch some good fish. So, and in the end, if I can smile, I had a good day and recognize that shit breaks. And yeah, I get pissed when stuff breaks, but you're only human. And that's it. You're only human. You can't vent it inside you. You got to have it unleashed. You got to let it go and then move on. So, I kind of ranted a little bit, but I just want to let you guys know, I really appreciate those that have listened, those that have really I know guys right now that went from like, I really want to catch a wahoo to catching 4 this year. And they're not out there very much, catching their very first wahoo. And I'm just very grateful that you guys listen to the podcast and apply the things that I try to teach. So, we got one more podcast before the year ends, and that'll be with Melinda. And then we'll kick off 2022 with a bang. So that's all I got, guys. Before I wrap it up today, remember, I'm finishing up the reef course. I'm deep into it now. I've got winded out a couple days, so I'm deep into it. And I'm adding a lot more stuff than I anticipated adding, which is good for you guys. And sometimes I'm like that. So I'm like, I need to add this and add that. So I'm kind of a perfectionist when it comes to that. And I need to make some more drawings that I have in mind. I want to show you guys some more ways to rig baits than I anticipated. So, and I want to thank you guys that have ordered the Reef Strategies course. And I'm really trying to make part 3 really good. So it's taken me a little longer than I anticipated, but it is what it is. You got the grouper bonus. Apply it. So that's another thing too. Use that grouper bonus here within the next couple of weeks. Follow me on Instagram at goodkarmaryan_Sportfishing _FL_keys. I'm a couple weeks behind on posting, so I'm just trying to get caught up. I've been catching a lot of nice stuff. Clients have been kicking some ass. So thank you guys that have fished with me over the past couple of weeks, and looking forward to seeing my Christmas clientele here. So and into the New Year's. Thanks again, guys. And remember, anytime you're fishing, it's all good.